Hello and welcome to the Listening Post's unboxing channel on YouTube. Today I'm unboxing the brilliant new Bluesound PowerNODE. Now the name PowerNODE has been utilised 3-4 times over in the Bluesound range. So this one is now sort of called the PowerNODE N331 or the PowerNODE 2025 or something along those lines. Because the PowerNODE, in fact, look, there's the previous PowerNODE. The PowerNODE has sort of been utilised and had many iterations over the years. Nevertheless, Bluesound with their award-winning, extremely well-loved Node, this is the powered version of it, designed to couple directly to speakers. What makes this new model really distinctly unique is it's now a 3-channel PowerNODE. It's got some trickery on board, so the 3-channel version, I guess, is designed to run an LCR situation around a television, whether it be one of those alternatives to a sound bar which has them all in one bar, or as a left, centre, right, as an on or in-wall setup, or as a modest home theatre. It's got Dolby processing on board, so it will decode the streamed Dolby audio, and it will partner up with any number of different Bluesound products to give you either wired or wireless rears. You can add a PowerNODE Edge, the Pulse Flex, all of these types of things to give you rear surround if you want to. So it'll decode the Dolby signal, pair up with additional Bluesound products, and run the rears if required. It means you're no longer tethered to large physical hardware below your television, a modest sized box, and then another box perhaps wirelessly feeding the rears, in other words, using Bluesound's wireless communication and then cable to some really good speakers if you wanted to, or something like the Pulse Flex, which could even be a battery operated rear speaker. So there's a lot of options now. Gaining the stereo side of things and making sure that's front and center. This will run in stereo mode as well, with just 2 speakers. It automatically senses the third center when you connect it, so there's no need to change anything with the setup. Nevertheless, it's a 3 by 80 watt or a 2 by 100 watt amplifier, depending on how you use it and configure it. It's using a brand new DirectDigital power amplification stage, and it will deliver a peak. And this is what's so surprising when you see how small this product is. It will deliver a peak power of more than 250 watts a channel, despite its tiny operational footprint. Nevertheless, let's have a look. Okay, so the packaging. It's factory sealed, but you'll see this big white sticker on it. It's because to keep that factory seal, the power cords are actually shipped separately. So the first thing that we're going to do is rip open this plastic wrap and have a look at the way that this product will arrive to you at home. So the first thing, as we've seen with all of the Bluesound products, we have that lovely sort of colour embossing, PowerNODE, the Bluesound logo, and a lovely hard cardboard box. We've got Bluesound off to one edge, PowerNODE again, and then scannable information associated with the model and serial number, along with its colour option, which is, I guess, the more popular black. There's a few compliance things and Wi-Fi and things like that, and then a lot more of the compliance and feature set listed. It's part of the BluOS ecosystem. It'll run MQA. As I mentioned, it'll do the Dolby Dirac. We'll touch on that. And it's got a THX AAA headphone socket. We're going to see all of that as well. Look, it runs Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and wired network connections, of course, as well. Supports AirPlay 2, Spotify, Cupid, dozens of streaming services. Too many to list. Okay, getting it, opening it is really, really easy. It's a good quality box. We see the first is the quick start guide to setting it up, and basically this is about putting the power cord in, plugging a network cable in, and then downloading the BluOS app. Now, the BluOS app directly steps you through the setup process, and the app will also allow for the control of your music, whether it be local or from a streaming service. What makes Bluesound unique is that their BluOS app will also operate on PC Microsoft computers, as well as Apple computers and tablets. So it's not just about a smartphone or a tablet, it's your desktop computer as well. So that's brilliant, by the way, particularly if you're using this at home and you're in the office and you're playing music. It's the computer you're interacting with. You're less likely to bring the phone out specifically to operate it. Next thing there is associated with DiRAC. Now DiRAC Live is an optional upgrade. You need to buy a mic and some other things to make it work, but it does support DiRAC. Then we've got the accessories. Now opening that and dumping them out, you'll see a couple of things. Now firstly, just tucked in the corner there in a little plastic bag is a Toslink to 3.5mm optical adapter. To keep the form factor compact at the back, instead of having multiple optical ins and outs, at least one of the ins is a 3.5mm combination of analog and optical, so hence why they give you the adapter. Now it's got two useless power cables to me. There's a British one and a Singaporean, something along those lines, and a network cable. Now so that I don't feel missed out, the separately supplied New Zealand IEC power cord was just off to one side for me to give it a chuck away. Right, lifting it out. One of the reasons I'm pulling the whole thing out for a moment is that we pause and dive into the comprehensive instruction manual that's in the bottom. This is where it's multi-language. It's got everything as far as warranty support, call centre numbers, all of those types of things, how to dive into the network settings, how to look at getting it up on using the IP address to dive into some of the least used features, and all sorts of things associated with that sort of next level of control. Okay, rid of that. Now, Bluesound's packaging. It's all 100% recycled cardboard, and it's 100% recyclable. That obviously held the manual, etc. in place, and it's embossed with the Bluesound logo. Another layer to protect the product. Then we see a desiccant bag and things to keep things dry and safe in transit. The product itself is has a final protection in one of those sort of soft cloth bags. It's sort of a polish bag. Removing that's really, really easy. Right, looking at the product for the first time, it bears a striking resemblance to the previous PowerNODE for obvious reasons. It's basically the same form factor. Operationally it's the same as well. It's got that gesture base where it's a simple single light that illuminates on the top, and then if you get near it, it'll illuminate to show you the ability to change the volume, use the 5 global presets that it has, as well as skipping backwards and forwards. The illuminated light has multiple features associated with letting you know what's going on as far as normal operation, which is the blue one. A problem, blinking lights, network interruption, all of those things is utilised by the change of colour of that little circle. That circle dot is also the play pause button, so it's kind of cool. And that's all operationally at the top. You see a lovely sort of ventilation, and it runs really cool. The amplification now is world class. Again, the peak that I implied at more than 250 watts, it's got more than enough power. Nevertheless, when it does get a little warm, it's got a little ventilation in the top. Looking at the front, we see the Bluesound logo, and then the 1/4 inch 6.35mm headphone socket. There's an emulation of the blue light in the front as well, just to make sure if you can't see all the corners, you know what's going on. It's not very deep. In fact, it's the same form factor as the previous PowerNODE, but it's at the back we see a complete change, both in topography and of course the third set of binding post. Starting at the boring end, we see a semi-recessed IEC power socket, and above it a 3.5mm input for the IR control. You can buy an aftermarket infrared remote control for the Bluesound products, or you can use control from an external automation system. we've got a subwoofer output, and it's worth noting it's got obviously a cabled coax LFE out, but within the Bluesound ecosystem they have a wireless subwoofer. So you can pair a wireless subwoofer as part of its setup, or you can cable a performance-driven subwoofer if you want. Then we see the left and right analog input clearly labelled, and it's analog in 1. Then we see that combined 3.5mm input, which can be either a second analog input or an optical input. And this is also listed optical in 2, implying, as we see over here, we've got a traditional Toslink optical input ready for the connection of your television or something along those lines. So they've added a duplicate, allowing you to use either 2 analogs or 2 opticals depending on your configuration and requirements. Wonderful to see that feature. Then we have the HDMI. Now the HDMI is for audio return channel from the television. It supports the eARC, so the multiple channel audio output, again because this will decode the Dolby signal. Of course it's got PCM decoding on board as well if you just want to keep things in stereo, but utilising the eARC connection enables the television to operate this from a volume perspective as well. Then we see a series of USBs. Now it's worth mentioning the bottom USB is a traditional USB-A, and that will happily support a thumb drive or a small hard drive, and with BluOS's new server function allow that local USB content to be shared and served to all of the other BluOS products around your home. Now that's pretty cool, particularly if you've got a couple of thumb drives lying around. You can jam them into the back of these, put your favourite music on it, and use it for offline playback, which is ideal particularly if you've got sketchy or unreliable network connections. Above it we see a USB-C. Now that is specifically to stream music to this from a PC or a laptop or something along those lines. Ideal for some of the very large file formats. Finally we have a wired network connection. It's a gigabit, but not that it needs it. It supports, it still supports Wi-Fi, but as always I would always recommend that for any credible streamed audio product you should connect via a network socket. Then we have the 3 outputs. We clearly see the right and left on the extremes, and then naturally the centre in the middle between the 2. These use traditional 5-way binding posts. The binding posts are essentially the same quality as the previous node. Again, it will automatically detect the connection of a centre speaker and change its configuration to allow for a left, centre, right. If only 2 are connected, it'll boost the wattage to 100 watts in a stereo mode. So there we have it. This brilliant new Bluesound PowerNODE N331 or PowerNODE 2025, however you want to label it. It's the brand new 3-channel streaming PowerNODE from Bluesound, unboxed here at the Listening Post in Christchurch, New Zealand.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel.